Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you're tuning in from. We saw that there is a special Thornton Township meeting coming up on the 25th, and we wanted to talk about just a little bit about that, but really special meetings in general. I'm sure we can all read the agenda for ourselves and come to our own conclusions. I just want to talk about the special meeting in general. Now, special meetings exist to talk about only what's on the agenda. And that's not usually a bad thing because special meetings exist to take care of special business. In this instance, everything that's on this special meeting could have been on the regular meeting, but I find a couple of things troubling. The first thing is I keep hearing all the way from Dolton now to the township that Mayor/Supervisor Henyard is trying to control the agenda. She's trying to control the trustees so that people can vote in her favor. But this special agenda, it serves to only discuss what the trustees want to discuss. So how is that fair? Since Chris Gonzalez is the one that nominated her, he should be the one taking the lead to ensure that conversations happen, the adult conversations he is trying to. Strong arming by continuing to have special board meetings the same way the Dolton trustees have been doing is not the way. It's not a good look. You're showing your lack of fairness to the residents. So here's a little reminder. Chris, you did this.
I nominate Tiffany Henyard, Thornton Township Supervisor.
You all are making a mockery out of this for real.
I'm sure that you all have already seen the mini clips where they all voted her in. But what's most important to point out is that most people keep skipping over is these trustees up here could not come to a consensus on who to nominate amongst themselves. Everyone was nominating themselves and each other, and they couldn't come together, have an adult conversation at any time before the 11th hour before they did this. So if that tells you nothing, I don't know what else to say about that. Now let's look at the professionalism of meetings in general.
If there's nothing else, commissioners and chief, I'd like to get a motion to end this meeting.
I second the motion.
First, we got a first by Commissioner Williams.
I second
Got a second by Commissioner Brenda. Motion passed. Call the roll.
The roll of Stanley Brown, the chair, Brenda Richardson, Chris Gonzalez, and Philip Williams.
Call the roll to say we want to end the meeting.
Call
the roll. Call Brenda.
Brenda Richardson,
yes.
Chris Gonzalez,
Yes.
Stanley Brown,
Yes.
Philip Williams, yes.
All right.
Motion passed.
Okay.
You can check out the rest of that meeting on the Village of Dolton webpage where Chris Gonzalez said nothing, basically. So we just pulled up this little clip just because it seems to be the consensus of most of the boards and meetings and committee meetings that I've seen throughout Dolton and the township. I don't see Chris Gonzalez taking notes, and you all can go check out the Village of Dolton website. It's on there. I'm not going to go through the whole meeting because I've already gone through the meetings. If we're going to say that as supervisor or mayor that Tiffany Henyard is controlling the agenda and controlling the minutes and the meetings, well, every time you all call a special board meeting, the trustees are controlling the narrative, they're controlling the town, and they're controlling the meeting. So maybe that is the end game. I'm not sure, but it's not a good look. It's never a good look when it's affecting the residents. And my concern is everything on this special agenda is supposed to be somehow about Tiffany. But if you look at the October meeting, Dukes versus the Thornton Township is one of the things that are supposed to be discussed. So why are we putting off what the residents need and putting all this new stuff on there? If we care about the residents, then we're going to keep at least the residents on there. But I understand it's lawsuits, and so, but what's up with that? And I would be remiss if I did mention that everything that comes from the desk of Christopher Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle is actually coming from high society management. This is a problem. How do you all allow for a former PR / chief of staff to come in now, who was fired or quit, either way, to now come in and represent each and every one of you? Not just in Dolton, but now in the township. That's not a conflict of interest. If we're going to start talking about conflict of interest, we have to talk about all of it. And in talking about all of it, forget whether or not she was giving good advice or bad advice, or whether she's giving good advice or bad advice now. Jason House, you do not look like a leader when you have Nikita Cloud speaking for you. Board of Trustees, Kiana Belcher. Board of Trustees, Brittany Norwood. Board of Trustees, Tammy Brown. You all don't look like leaders. And it's easy to let your residents know what you stand for. Okay, Clean House 2025. What does that look like? What exactly are you going to do? How is the budget going to look? Are you going to pass the budget? What's happening with the Conspiracy Group? Why are you all suing them when they're the ones that told Jason House when he was finance chair that Dolton was going broke? Why would you all spend $200,000 to recall the mayor when you knew that that was money that could have gone into the village? Why is Dwayne Woods back on the warrant list? I thought that person didn't get paid before, and I was a friend of Tammy Brown. Why is the T for trustees $7,000 if we're talking about Tiffany and her spending too? Which one of y'all got the cigar lounge in Calumet City? Why haven't y'all paid Trina Downs for her water bill that y'all messed up? I just recently saw that in the Chicago Tribune. Anyway, back to special board meetings. They should exist for special occasions. To put all of these items on a special board meeting makes the previous meeting that you all didn't come to look like the special board meeting. It's not supposed to be all of this on a special board meeting agenda. I mean, this is too much. Just too much. So I guess since this is your special meeting, you trustees will show up. However, I think it's disingenuous to take Dukes and everyone else off. But I digress to say, I'm just hoping that you'll show up, because there are still residents that are using the township services to get to and from these meetings that you all pick and choose which ones to show up to. So please keep that in mind, that those are taxpayer dollars, that if you all are not going to show up to a meeting, the services are still being rendered and money is still being spent. So you might as well show up, or continue to waste those tax dollars. I mean, make it make sense. But until next time, sending love and light.